Have you ever encountered an expression that just didn't make sense at first? One of those tough nuts to crack in the English language? Let me tell you a funny story about a student who misunderstood this idiom. She thought it meant a literal nut that was hard to crack open. So, what does a tough nut to crack actually mean? It refers to a problem or challenge that is difficult to solve or understand. Imagine you're trying to learn a new skill, like playing the guitar. At first, it might seem like a tough nut to crack, but with practice and persistence, you'll get the hang of it. Here are some examples of how you can use a tough nut to crack in different contexts. In casual conversation, my math homework was a tough nut to crack this week. In a formal setting, the problem we're facing is a tough nut to crack, but I believe we can find a solution. In a negative context, trying to get that promotion has been a real tough nut to crack. In a humorous context, my grandma's fruitcake is a tough nut to crack, even with a hammer. In a literary context, the mystery novel had a tough nut to crack, but the detective eventually solved it. In a business setting, expanding into the international market has been a tough nut to crack for our company. On social media, trying to learn a new programming language is a tough nut to crack. But I'm determined to figure it out. To help you remember the meaning of a tough nut to crack, think of a hard-shelled nut like a walnut or Brazil nut that's difficult to open. This visual image can remind you of the idiom's figurative meaning. The precise origin of a tough nut to crack is uncertain, but it's believed to have emerged sometime between the late 17th and early 18th centuries. Early examples often referred to literal nuts, gradually evolving to encompass more figurative meanings of difficult problems. This reflects the challenge of accessing the nutritious kernel inside a hard shell, mirroring the effort required to solve a complex problem. Over time, it has evolved to represent any challenging problem or task. Some similar idioms include a hard pill to swallow, a mountain to climb, and a can of worms. Opposite idioms could be a piece of cake or a walk in the park. Related idioms might be a hard nut or a tough cookie. For example, you could say mastering that new software program was a tough nut to crack. Or you could rephrase it as mastering that new software program was very difficult. I remember a time when my colleague used a tough nut to crack perfectly in a meeting. He was discussing a complex legal issue, and the idiom really captured the challenge they were facing. One common mistake is to say a tough nut to crack open. The open part is unnecessary, as the idiom already implies the difficulty of accessing the kernel or solution. Another mistake is thinking a tough nut to crack means something is literally hard to break, like a physical nut. Okay, let's test your understanding with a few questions. 1. What is the meaning of a tough nut to crack? A. A hard-shelled nut. B. A difficult problem to solve. C. A person who is stubborn. Answer, B. 2. Which of these is a synonymous expression to a tough nut to crack? A. A piece of cake. B. A mountain to climb. C. A walk in the park. Answer, B. 3. Which of these is an antonymous expression to a tough nut to crack? A. A hard pill to swallow. B. A can of worms. C. A breeze. Answer, C. In summary, a tough nut to crack is a common English idiom that refers to a difficult problem or challenge. Understanding and using this idiom correctly can greatly improve your communication skills in English. Now it's your turn. Share an example sentence using a tough nut to crack in the comments. And be sure to subscribe for more fun and informative idiom lessons.